Well, that was Deputy President Paul Mashatile delivering his Youth Day commemoration speech. Well, moving on, the Democratic Alliance is marking Youth Day in East London in the Eastern Cape. Party leader John Steenhuisen addressed party supporters about the high youth unemployment rate and the importance of taking part in next year's elections. SABC News reporter Abongile Jantjies has more.
Well, the Democratic Alliance is using Youth Day to lure the youth to register to vote and ensure that when it comes to the elections next year that most people have registered to vote. There's this issue of the youth not wanting to vote. They say that they'll do everything possible to ensure that they come in their numbers, to ensure that the ANC and other political parties are voted out of power and that they get the majority of the votes. Let's bring in the DA leader, John Steenhuisen. Sir, thanks a lot for your time. You are in East London today, which is a strong ANC stronghold. What do you plan with this initiative today?
Well, looking at what happened in Port St John's, I don't think there's many ANC strongholds left in the Eastern Cape, but nonetheless, what we hope to do is to encourage young people to register. The 18 to 35-year-old bracket is the most under-registered group in the country, and we need to encourage young people to understand that the way you vote is linked to the way you live. And if you want a government that's creating jobs in an environment where we've got the lowest youth employment rates in the world and where jobs are being reserved for cadres and those connected, you want to vote for a government that's able to do that. We've demonstrated in the last quarter in the Western Cape, 98% of all net new jobs in South Africa were created there because we know how to keep the economy moving. But just as the youth of 1976 took action and stood up, things aren't going to change by themselves. Young people need to make sure their voices are heard and that they're being heard loud and clear, particularly where it matters the most, and that's at the ballot box. If a government decision can come into your home and switch off your lights, the way load shedding has, people need to understand that they may not have been interested in politics, but politics is very, very interested in them.
Coming to the moonshot package that you are advocating for, is this one of them, and how is it going ahead of these elections?
Yeah, it's going well. It's progressing. There's been 5 meetings and the parties are starting to find each other. We hope to come to a convention at some stage, hopefully during the month of July. But I'm very pleased with the progress, and I think that many, many more South Africans are getting excited that there's going to, for the first time since 1994, be a viable alternative with a credible path to victory. The combined non-ANC EFF opposition got 35% of the votes in the last elections. That's just 15% shy. If we can get young people registered and get them to vote, and we can get the 14 million people who are registered but didn't vote to the polls, I believe that we can make that gap far, far narrower, and that we can bring change next year by putting in place a new majority that's going to get the country moving forward and to get young people back into work and to be making sure that our younger learners have a quality education, not the rubbish education they're receiving from this government where 81% of grade 4 learners cannot read or write.
What do you make of the presidential visit to Ukraine and Russia later on, where the president is making an effort to ensure that the Russia-Ukraine war comes to an end?
Well, it's a complete omnishambles. We've seen the mess that's taken place here. 3 of the leaders have pulled out of the trip, and the president arrives there with very little credibility, actually, because you can't project yourself as an honest broker when the country and government that you lead has been doing war games with the Russians. We've got the wake of the Lady R, and we've got pronouncements in Parliament by the ANC that are very much in support of Russia and are hardly balanced in this whole particular matter. So whilst any initiative for peace must be welcome, the president is not an honest broker, and I don't think that the trip is going perhaps as well as he would have liked, and the standoff in Poland is another example of that.
How would you have handled it?
Well, I certainly wouldn't have taken 126 people with me, and I certainly wouldn't have taken a small army, and I certainly wouldn't have taken the amount of weaponry that they have. They've got machine guns, thousands of rounds of ammunition, they've got all sorts of military hardware that they tried to offload in Poland. And so it's not clear what this was all required for. When you look at other heads of state who've gone there, they've taken much smaller delegations. Even the Zambian delegation is made up of only 12 people in total, including security personnel. Why we've sent 126 people there armed to the teeth on a peacekeeping mission is simply beyond me. But anyway, we hope that we want peace in the region. But I don't think that Mr. Ramaphosa has the credibility internationally to be able to really move the needle there because of this cloud of the Lady R that is hanging over his head and what she still has not clarified.
Thanks a lot for your time, sir. John Steenhuisen, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, planning to go inside now where he'll give the keynote address with regards to youth participating in the elections next year, speaking about a number of things, including the presidential visit to Poland and Ukraine and Russia, saying that it leaves a lot to be desired for, which I'll bring you more as the day unfolds.